No, I think it's great.
Thank you.
Okay, Emily.
Good evening, Emily Mitchell, Town Clerk. Just here to make announcements about next week's annual town election. So next Tuesday, May 19th, is the annual town election. Polls will be open at the Harwich Community Center from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Voters in all 4 precincts in the town do vote at the community center in the gymnasium. If anyone is looking to vote by mail, folks do have to apply to do that. The deadline to submit the application is tomorrow, May 12th by 5 p.m. So our office is open for the additional hour for folks to file those applications. They do have to be received by 5 in order for us to mail the ballot for this election. Anyone who is voting by mail needs to have their mailed ballot returned to the clerk's office by close of polls, 8 p.m. on May 19th. So we look forward to seeing everyone in the next couple of days or next week. Thank you.
Thanks, Ed. I understand our tracking polls are showing that Jeff and I are surging ahead in the select board race.
Gotta look out for those write-ins though, Don.
I didn't say we had won. I said we're surging ahead. Hi.
Good evening, Jason Trepanier, Water and Wastewater Superintendent. Couple announcements. After a long-awaited period, Route 28 construction on the water main will be out to bid. It should be out to bid later this month. We plan on starting that in mid-September. So we're going to be having a public outreach. That outreach will be June 10th here in the Griffin Room. And we're going to have more of the schedule on that construction for the Route 28 water main project. And that water main project, the one I'm talking about, is from South Street to the Heron River, to the Heron River Bridge. The other thing I'm very pleased to inform everybody about is Massachusetts DEP gave us the Water Department an award.
Right.
So we got this award for 2025 by the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection. The Harwich Department was awarded the Medium Large Community Compliance Award in 2025. This recognition is given to water departments that achieve perfect compliance in drinking water regulations, exceptional performance, and demonstrate to their community to providing safe, reliable water to their community. So that was I just accepted that this week on behalf of the department. So, and that is this award is a testament to the collective efforts, hard work of each and every water department employee put in day after day. The water department personnel have done an amazing job demonstrating remarkable dedication, teamwork, and commitment to excellence throughout the year. Water department does a lot of hard work out there, and this just goes to show. Very happy to get this.
Please convey our gratitude and for the award to everyone there, from the commissioners down to the staff level. They do a remarkable job.
Well, thank you.
Mr. Chair, may I ask a question?
Sure.
Jason, may I ask a question? When does the dry sewer pipe go in? Is that at the same time the water pipe is going in, or?
CC Construction got awarded the bid for that. We're waiting for a construction schedule for them.
Okay.
So we have to work with them on where we start and where they start.
Okay.
But I do believe the water main will go in first, and the dry sewer will go in after the water main, because that's a little shallower.
Just one other comment. If you've driven on Route 28 in West Dennis, I hope that whoever does the work does a better job paving than what happened in West Dennis on Route 28.
Well, they're doing curb to curb, and they're also doing sidewalk, Mass DOT. We just elected to do paving from curb to curb, because we didn't want all of our crossovers and everything. It would not look good, and it would not be a good ride. So we plan on doing curb to curb paving from South Street down to the Heron River Bridge.
Okay, great.
So.
I noticed you left Yarmouth off the hook. In other words, don't travel Route 28 for a while. Next.
I won't do it every week, but I have another herring update. We've updated the schedule. Next harvest is Sunday, May 17th from 12 to 3 p.m. And that is after calculating where we are for our current harvest. So we're still actually just under 1% of the season count to date. So we have almost 400,000 fish that have come through. So we're well below any threshold that we need to be. Resident permits are still available at the Natural Resources Office.
Any other staff? All right, here none. Move along to weekly briefing.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Have our weekly briefing regarding Phase 3 sewer project. Also started adding these to the town's monthly newsletter as well, so if residents are interested in finding out exactly what's going on week to week with the sewer projects in town, sign up for the newsletter on the town's website. The Harwich Phase 3 sewer extension project continues to progress across contract areas 1E and 2W. Over the next 2 weeks, crews will actively be working to install major components of the sanitary sewer collection system on Pleasant Bay Road, Route 39, and Bova Code Road. This includes the continued installation of gravity sewer laterals, and manholes in the public right-of-way. Construction also remains ongoing on Route 39, Pleasant Bay, Bova Code Pump Station, where work is advancing on key infrastructure needed to support the new system. In the Contract 2W area, work will continue throughout Chestnut Lane neighborhood, including Harding Lane, Elm Drive, and Maple Lane. Crews are conducting gravity sewer and force main testing and completing interior manhole structures such as brick, bench, walls, and channels. Construction of the Chestnut Lane pump station is also progressing. While residents may experience delays due to the construction, roads will remain open and passable each day. We appreciate the community's patience as a significant environmental infrastructure project continues to move forward. That's it, Mr. Chair.
As long as you brought it up, your newsletter is terrific. I'm sure the citizenry is really
Thank you.
applauding
Yeah,
it.
we're working on trying to get it a little bit better each month. We included the weekly briefings in it this month and have some, we're going to be looking for feedback from the community on naming it. So we're going to put out a poll to try to get some of the, we've already got a few really good ideas from some residents that have emailed, but we're going to send out a poll to be able to let the community name the newsletter as well.
Any other questions?
Just briefly, if I
Sure.
could. Can we, maybe in the next week or two, nothing too detailed, but just a brief update on if the project is on schedule and look like it's going to be, within budget that we have outlined?
Absolutely.
So
Yep,
that'd be appreciated. And is the board allowed to submit a name to the newsletter?
they are.
All right, good.
Yeah. And so in that regards, on the timing and phasing and where we're at with the budget, I met with GHD today. Actually, Jason was with us. He took off, but he was with us at the meeting. And what I asked them to do is give me a timeline and estimated update on completion of 3A, and his 2 water main projects and the dry sewer project. So I'll share that with the board when I get it. I said just high level.
Right.
I mean, we're in a situation where come this fall, we're gonna have two water main installation projects, a dry sewer projects, 3 and 3A all happening at the same time.
Right.
So that's a lot for a small town to deal with. So I'm hoping that, when I have that, I'll share it with you and we can make it public as well.
Sure. I'm hoping the folks in town can still drive on the road.
I've gone through massive projects like that with water main installations. They're a lot.
Yeah.
They're a lot. So
Thank you.
I'm nervous about it.
Yeah.
Quick question, during the summer, Jay, Pleasant Bay Road, Route 39, will the major construction be ongoing during the summer on those main roads?
It will not. I asked that clarification question this morning, and the 99.9% answer I got was no, but he was gonna make sure there's no loopholes outside of that. And that was one of the things that I asked for with the scheduling. We did approve additional paving up to June 27th, I believe, to try to get the majority. I think we have a policy in town that paving, this work has to be done by mid-June, June 15th, somewhere around there. Our RBO asked for an extension to be able to pave Pleasant Bay Road before the summer, so we didn't have to leave it a mess over the summer. So I approved a 10-day extension to that to be able to get that work done before, I think it was the 27th they'll be done. I believe that concludes all of the work for the summer, but that's what I needed GHD to confirm, that there's, I wanted to know exactly what would happen over the summer, so. But what GHD told me is that would end the Pleasant Bay Road work for the summer, so. But I think it's important we know like what's going on side roads and stuff too, because it's such a zoo around here.
Okay. Public comments and announcements. I see some of the public.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, Mr. Town Administrator, Assistant Town Administrator, welcome, welcome. Terry Canavan, y'all know me. So I have to backstep a little bit because I haven't been here in a while, but we all remember that horrible blizzard, I'm sure. We actually had seniors, 90 years and older, snowed into their homes. They couldn't open their front doors or anything. So I'm well aware of some of the things that happened, and they're horrific. Not anybody's fault, it just happened that way. So I'm here to propose the select board start a new subcommittee with the intention of helping the elderly seniors in our town with shoveling. Now, I think that everybody I've talked to so far is so on board with this. It's amazing. We need to get the high schoolers involved, and we need to go to the tech school. And the town needs to propose to them that A, they volunteer their services, but they'll be paid. And they'll be paid by a fund that I think we should set up with the town tax collector. And I will give the first $25 to start it as soon as you get it going. And I have so many people lined up that are willing to do that. And the people that have more deep pockets, let them give a little more to get it off the ground. Offer the students some money, but also offer them a recommendation from the town for if they're applying to college. Wouldn't that be nice on their resume? They're applying for a job. Wouldn't that be great for their resume? You've done this community service, and we're happy for that. And we have to help these people. They don't have the money to hire somebody, and there's nobody that wants to do it anymore. So that's item number one. Item number two, we have a situation with transportation. You know, I do the indoor walking and the sit fit. I've done it for 5 years now. It's a wonderful program. And I added the pizza party, as you all know. So we have an incredible number of over 85 years old people that come. Yeah, they even walk better than me, okay? But it comes a point that they have to give up driving. It's a very hard, independent choice for any of them to make. But for me, I gotta keep them coming out. Now, some of them, we've arranged some rides for them to come. But we gotta take a look at the transportation in this town. I'm going to be stepping carefully on the tulips here, but the CCRTA, which is the program on the Cape for transportation publicly, they rent to this town their buses for $1 a year, with the understanding the town will help them transport seniors because they can't handle them all. So they don't give the buses to the town because they keep taking the buses back for maintenance to make sure they're okay, make sure the lifts are okay. They train the drivers. The town hires them, but they train them, and they do assorted other things. The town has to pay for the gas. the town pays the hourly rate for the drivers that are hired. But they're not just hired for one group. Now, this is where it's gonna get very gray. The COA is not allowing people that don't go to their program a ride on the bus. So, yours truly knows a 92-year-old that wanted to come to the pizza party. She's been coming ever since I started it. For the first time, she didn't have a ride. And she didn't want to stay home. She tried to get on the COA bus. Nope, that's not our program. Okay, I'll fix it. I did get the CCRTA to bring her, but she had to leave her home at 9:30 in the morning, a 92-year-old, to come to a pizza party that didn't start until 12. This is unacceptable. They were coming to the community center anyway with 2 passengers for senior lunch. Why couldn't they pick her up? I'm sorry, her taxes are helping pay the driver's salary. We can do better than this, folks. So, I put the challenge out to the assistant town administrator, my new friend.
Low man on the totem pole.
No, not at all. Never do I think that. We have to fix this, and we can. And maybe it's time to rearrange who manages transportation for seniors in this town. I got lots of ideas. I won't go over them at this moment because I'll take up too much time. Those 2 things were paramount. Now I have to just say a couple of comments on the ballot override questions. And I've already voted, so it doesn't matter. My votes are in. I just want to throw out for your consideration, and I don't know how the voting's going to go, but $325,000 for a new ambulance is a whole lot of money. Now, I'm a trauma nurse. I know there's different stages of ambulances. Is it so important for this town to have the Cadillac to travel? An ambulance is meant to transport an individual to the emergency room. It's not meant to give major surgery or anything like that. They're not qualified people on there to do that. They're qualified for certain things. They don't diagnose. The diagnosticians are at the hospital. We could probably do well to invest in the sedan version. Maybe not for every single ambulance, but for some of them. We don't need the top of the line for everything. We need a safe vehicle for the people that work here and for the person being transported. If there's a trauma, my goodness, you're gonna have to call med flight anyway, because we don't have trauma on this Cape. They'll have to go off Cape anyway. So we have to really consider this in the future. We really do. And my last comment is on the school. You're putting a Band-Aid on a major bleed, and it doesn't work. When a 60-year-old building has sick building syndrome, and there are youngsters in that school that are ill, they're not going to get better by a new roof and new windows. What you do is, now you're going to have dust from lead paint. You know what that going up their noses? You're going to have all kinds of bacteria, viruses, fungi, asbestos. Those buildings are made with them. You don't want that to happen. You're going to make the problem worse. You need to look at the fact that the high school doesn't have a full capacity. Maybe they need to rearrange some of their classrooms. Make a space for the kids by themselves. Put them safe. Get the teachers safe. Get the staff that works there. You gotta get them out of that building. And please, seriously consider that for everybody's health and safety. That's what I'm an expert at. I'm done. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Jen, the first two items we'll talk about tomorrow. John?
John Shore, Gorham Road. Will we be allowed to speak when you get to the town meeting recap?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure, yeah.
You can hold 2 minutes and 30 seconds of your time now.
I was going to say briefly. Thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
Good evening, Select Board and administrators. I basically have the same question as well. Will we be able to speak when you are doing the vote to dissolve the local planning committee?
That wouldn't be the appropriate spot. We have a
Okay, I'll do it now.
discussion. No, we have a good discussion on the agenda if you look down a little bit further about the town meeting itself.
I am speaking about number 8, new business. B, vote to dissolve the local planning committee. Will you take comments then or now?
If it pertains to dissolving it, we will certainly take comments then.
I'll start now and then I'll repeat it. Dissolving the LCP? Really? Well, okay, one less board, but hopefully not the LCP in concept. Every step the Select Board takes must be on the LCP path. You must continue to look and see the future consequences of your present-day actions. You need to see the big LCP landscape that they have given us. You may ask yourself daily, weekly, are the steps you're taking now within the goalposts of the LCP? The LPC has set the playing field. Do not continue hitting foul balls or going out of bounds. What you need to be asking and implementing is how to have the LCP rule book guide and enforce all of your actions. Here's an alternative point of action. I would suggest that the Select Board be dissolved and the LCP run the town. Ha ha ha, or would you like to take a vote on that now?
No, I think the public takes votes every year.
Good. Well, I'm glad you appreciate the humor. But who would be handling the liquor license? Well, okay, let's let the Select Board be, and please conceptually have the LCP run the town. Conceptually have the LCP run the town. There's only one Cape Cod and only one Harwich in the world. We are here for our ponds, seashore, woodlands, and nature, all in serious decline due to human behavior. Today, it is developers that are running this town. Note, in the Cape Cod Commission's report that Harwich is at the bottom of the list for land conservation. So, please stand up and hit a home run, win the game, and have the Harwich that will be here 100 years from now here today. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm Herb Raphael from Harwich Center. So the town meeting, I just wanted to make a few comments about it. I thought, first of all, of course, considering what's going on in our country, it's really exciting to be participating in a real democracy. And so it was a very positive experience in that regard. At the same time, I think we can always benefit looking back and seeing some things that we can improve based on that experience. And there were a few things I wanted to comment on. One is we go through, 2 days of a whole...
If you're going to go in that route, we
Okay.
are going to deconstruct the town meeting later in the agenda. We
Okay.
can't discuss anything this is a public comment spot where you talk, we listen, it's
Right.
done.
Yeah, that's all. That's all I want to
Okay,
do.
well, then, if, we're not going to be recovering the same ground again when we get to the...
No, I won't say anything, no,
Okay, fine, then,
yeah.
please, go on.
Sure. So I think, we go through all these articles, and each one is very specific. I think there's a need for some general vision at some, early on in the meeting, so that the town sees how all of this fits together, because it seems so disjointed. So it doesn't have to be long, it should be a few key points, but especially with a new comprehensive plan, some statement by the board, it would seem would be very valuable to give orientation so that the people at the meeting have a sense that this all fits into some overall plan, rather than just go from Article 1 to Article 60-something. The second thing has to do with the petitions. And the petitions seem very contentious, and I think they seem contentious because of the way, the process by which they go forward. And that is, people go through a lot of work, draft the petitions, they go for legal review. The legal review has all kinds of issues, but then the petitions can't be revised. So it's a formula for failure. And that's not, I don't think that's to anybody's benefit. Then we come to the town meeting, and we have the issue of amendments, which are complicated. And then a number of the petitions get bludgeoned because they don't meet some legal standard. The debates over the issues in the petitions should be of the substance of the petition, not over whether they meet some legal criteria. The legality of the petitions needs to be sorted out, preferably before the petitions are even finalized. So all I'm asking is that that process of how the petitions are prepared include legal input before the petitions are finalized, rather than after, because all it's doing is creating debate about process and not about substance. And then the other thing, the final thing, has to do with some contentious issues that came up that seem to be dropped, that never got any kind of resolution or follow-up. The most obvious case was the Pine Oaks Village 4, for which there was a vote on one of the Affordable Housing Commission. There was a vote on money going to them, and an appeal had to be made that, well, POV 4 might have been a mistake, but this article has nothing to do with that, and so please pass it anyway. And so there had to be an appeal to a bunch of angry people about POV 4, and there was no opportunity for them to present their frustration. And my sense is there needs to be a way, when something is rejected, particularly for procedural means, but gets a lot of votes anyway. For example, the arguments are procedural. Say, oh, this shouldn't pass because this procedure is not being followed. And yet, gee, there's 100 votes in favor of it anyway, which means people are upset. There should be a way for the select board to take those issues and say, you know what, we're going to follow up. This needs attention, but we're going to do it the right way, because that was what the argument was. There's another procedure to do it. There's a right way to do it. Well, then that needs to be brought up at the meeting and said, yes, we will follow up. We will follow this procedure to do it, and we will report to you during the course of the year what steps have been taken. And when we come to the meeting next year, we have hopefully something that then fits whatever legal parameters needed to be met. So those are some fundamental things that I feel just need to be discussed and addressed, and it'll help fine-tune the town meeting so it's not so contentious, and people walk out feeling much more positive about their engagement in the meeting. Thank you.
Any other public? All right, move on.
Mr. Chair, I move we approve the Select Board meeting minutes from April 27th, 2026, and May 4th, 2026.
With one change of verb tense. That's already been identified. Somebody want to second it?
Oh, second.
Any further comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous.
Mr. Chair,
I was
I
trying to
move-
figure out verb tense.
I didn't say tense verb, I said verb tense.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I move we vote to accept a gift for the Department of Natural Resources in the amount of $200 from the Cape Cod Fishermen's Alliance in support of the maintenance of Harwich's herring runs.
Second.
Don't everybody second at the same time. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous.
Mr. Chair, I move we vote to approve the town administrator's recommendation to grant permission by N-Star Electric Company, DBA Eversource Energy, to install one new fully owned 45-foot pole and one new 40-foot fully owned pole on Main Street.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. I'll say something. Just yesterday, because we were talking about this double polling issue of the last, I don't know, what, 10 years? Just on Queen Anne Road alone, in the stretch between 124 and the roundabout, there's 3 of them. There's plenty more around town. For me, just watching them through the years, it'd be really nice before they start putting up new poles to actually take care of the old poles that they're double poled. And they know that they're out there. I mean, it's kind of a sucker move for them to say, can you identify them for us? They're the owners.
Understood. I fortunately am meeting with them tomorrow to discuss double polls. So
And you can tell them how thrilled we are about that.
I will. That timing couldn't be
Matter of fact,
better.
that
Of course, they
couldn't be
blame-
more ironic that you're meeting with them tomorrow when they want the approval for the polls today.
They, of course, the first thing they're gonna tell me is remind me that it's Verizon's issue, not their issue. But that said, I'm working with them tomorrow.
Mr. Chair, if I could, I was gonna let it go, but you brought it up, Mr. Chair, so I'm not going to, but the request also didn't sit well with me. But with that said, it
Request
may,
for- yeah.
for us to drive around and identify the poles, when they damn well should have it in their database, and if they don't, then that's half the problem. But with that said, it may be Verizon pole, however, they're the ones who always come forward looking for
So they're the ones we
new
can go
poles.
after.
That's it,
Yeah.
and.
Just tell them that point blank.
Yeah, and I'll let you know, because I brought this up a couple weeks ago, whenever it was, that, I try to be as lenient as possible, but the stretch of Queen Anne, in its entirety, there's more than a half a dozen. So, and they're all over the place, and it's, is it the end of the world? No. But if somebody doesn't start to address it, it just becomes, that much worse, so.
Some of them look pretty rough.
Oh, and they do definitely look rough, but they'll just continue to multiply. And they become rabbits. So we need to address it. They need to address it. They need to drive around in their company vehicles and identify it if they don't have a database that indicates where they already are, and start addressing, because I won't support these going forward. And that doesn't mean anything to them, I'm sure. If the vote goes 4-1, they don't give a damn. But they need to start working on it. So thank you for that. And thank you for bringing it up before.
Well, at least one of the polls I saw had George Loves Martha on it, and I'm not sure, I didn't want to go any further than that, but it sounded.
No, I think the approach of saying that we're gonna stop supporting new polls unless they help us resolve this problem is probably the leverage we have.
It's completely our leverage, so, thank you for that.
So, the motion is as it is. Any further comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye.
Mr. Chair, I move we vote to approve the town administrator's recommendation to grant permission by N-Star Electric Company, DBA Eversource Energy, to install one new stub pole and anchor on Pleasant Street and install one new push brace at pole on South Street.
Second?
It's moved and seconded. All I'll say is, same thing.
Ditto. But my
Same comments apply?
Yeah.
my only other comment, though, it looks like the issue that the abutter had has been rectified.
Yeah, the abutter worked with us on that. We had 2 hearings for that poll, and they resolved it.
All right.
They resolved the abutter's
Excellent.
concern.
Thank you.
I got a witness in the audience that knows that this isn't the first time I've been saying this. So, with that, any further comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye.
Aye.
Is that Jeff?
Yeah, aye.
Okay.
I don't like stub polls.
Okay, we're almost at 3.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell them that tomorrow.
That Jeff doesn't like stub poles?
No, that we're almost at 3 votes against.
And the guy who promised them that he wouldn't vote for in the
Numbers are
future,
going
it
down
would be
here.
3.
Right.
We're close to a failed vote on new polls, so.
Very comfortable with everyone knowing I'm not a fan of stub polls.
Thank you for saying that in public.
I think that's his campaign slogan, if I recall.
All right, so moving along, public hearings.
Public hearing, Harwich Select Board Notice of Public Hearing, Aquaculture License. Pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 130, the Harwich Select Board will hold a public hearing on Monday, May 11th, 2026, no earlier than 6 p.m. during their regularly scheduled meeting. This hearing will be held in the Don B. Griffin Room, located at Town Hall, 732 Main Street, Harwich, to review the following request for an aquaculture license. Aquacultural Resource Corporation, ARC, 11 Harbor Way, West Harwich. Application received April 8th, 2026, 0.015 acres in Herring River, located adjacent to 11 Harbor Way. Harwich Select Board, April 30th, 2026.
Accept a motion to open the public hearing.
So moves.
Second.
Let's move the second and open public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Yeah, could somebody outline the actual parameters of the project?
Stephanie Ridenauer, Natural Resources Director. So the town had previously approved that ARC have a FLUPSI, a floating upweller system at this location on the north side of their land-based upweller. So this past season, if you're around there, you might have seen what looks like a dock. So visually, if you're driving by the area, if you're going by Wixon Dock and you looked over, it simply just looks like a regular floating dock. Inside the dock is some shellfish propagation equipment similar to what they have inside. It's just a floating upweller system. To certify the site, which there should not be any issue with. We've checked ahead of time with that. I think the only difference with what I'm requesting to be licensed is, while it is 0.015 acres, it's a very, very tiny area. Usually when we're dealing with aquaculture for oyster grants and things like that, where towns are approving, an acre or 2 acres, since it's such a tiny, tiny area with the floats, requesting that the select board approve a whopping 0.03 acres to encompass that area. It's seasonal, so it's the same as their operations have been. It's April to November. They do oyster and quahog seed at that facility. And I can answer any questions, but that's sort of
Before you get
the
to
short of it.
questions, so just to verify what you're saying, you're recommending we approve the request with the change that you recommended for the acreage?
0.03 acres, correct.
Okay. We could open it up to questions, but I'd like to hear from the public first. All right. There's nobody from the public, so we take the motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second?
Let's move in second to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Questions from the Natural Resources Officer?
My only question, is this went before Waterways, correct?
Correct, it was in favor at Waterways, and then John Harker, the harbor master, will be in front of you for a public hearing separate from this. So I'm here as shellfish constable for the aquaculture license. John Harker will be in front of you as harbor master for a public hearing related to the mooring, which is a separate process. I just have to be here under Chapter 130, and then he will be here for our separate process that's related to our municipal regulations under the harbor management plan.
Looking forward to it.
That's next Monday night.
Can't wait. Set your calendar.
Mark?
Mr. Chair, I move we approve the application for a aquaculture license for Aquaculture Research Corporation, 11 Harbor Way, West Harwich, Mass. Approximate area 0.3 acres.
Second.
Second. Jeff, do you have?
I don't, so it's 0.12 acres of float. Is that what you said?
So the floats are 8 by 20, and there are 4 of them total, but it is also on a mooring, so I figure it's not just, it's 8 by 20, and then that might move a little bit, as a boat does on mooring. Not so much, because it's anchored on either side on the moorings,
Excellent. And conservation is conservation intersecting with this at all, or no?
Nope, because it is seasonal.
Seasonal. Okay, great. That's all for me, Mr. Chair. I'm wholeheartedly in support of blue economy here, so.
Okay. Nita, you have anything?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. Hearing no further comments, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous.
Thank you.
Oh, shoot, hang on. I dropped it.
I got it.
Would you mind, thanks?
Notice of public hearing, Town of Harwich Select Board application for a liquor license. Notice is hereby given under Chapter 138 of the General Laws as amended. That application has been made to this board for a seasonal on-premise all alcoholic beverage liquor license for Three Harbors Coastal Kitchen LLC, DBA Three Harbors Coastal Kitchen, Francis Wyasek Jr., manager, on the following described premises located at 575 Route 28, Harwichport, Mass. 02646. A restaurant with 100 seats. The premise consists of approximately 2,980 square feet of first-floor commercial space, as well as a designated basement and outdoor patio area. The Select Board will hold a hearing on the application on Monday, May 11th, 2026, no earlier than 6 p.m. in the Griffin Room at Harwich Town Hall, 732 Main Street, at which time all interested parties are cordially invited to attend. Select Board is the local licensing authority, and it was posted in the Cape Cod Chronicle on April 23rd of 2026.
All right, accept a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Moving second, open public hearing, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Hello there.
Hello there. Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the Select Board. My name is Matthew Kelly. Tonight I represent Three Harbors Coastal Kitchen LLC in their application for a seasonal all-alcohol license at 575 Route 28. We have all members of the Wyachek family here.
Somewhere in the restroom.
In some capacity.
I would be carding him, however.
We got both, well, not both.
He does the card.
We have two out of the three Franks, but two Franks here. And Lauren, Frank's wife, is outside with the other members of the family. Some of you may be familiar with, obviously this is a new application. This is a new area for a restaurant in town. It is zoned obviously appropriately in the CV district, but this would be a location that's never had a restaurant before. We have submitted comprehensive plans, and obviously you know that that the project, I assume, is quite very much under construction at the moment across from Cumberland Farms in Harwichport. But what I would suggest today is what you're weighing in on is whether or not this is an appropriate location, an appropriate person to hold a license. Those of you that are familiar with the Wyachek family knows that they hold a license in town already. They are the owners of Milano's. They operate that under Milano's Hospitality Group LLC. The rest of the family has joined us. And I would just suggest when you're trying to, project whether or not a license holder is appropriate, you look to a lot of things. You look to somebody's history and what they've done. And fortunately, in this situation, you have the perfect example in town. I think I speak for a lot of the town when Milano's has been a credit to the town. It is a wonderful place. It is family-oriented, as everything that they do is, as you can see here tonight. I'm going to let Frank describe the details of the project, but I would suggest from a legal standpoint it's appropriate. It's appropriately zoned. They're appropriate applicants. I'm not aware of any negative feedback. They've been incredibly responsive to all of your boards in their thorough review of the project, and we're going to seek approval from you tonight. But I'll turn it over to Frank to describe the project a little bit more at this point. And thank you for your time.
Hello, everybody. How are you? I sent you guys just a quick PowerPoint going over what we are proposing, right? We believe that there's an opportunity for, a mildly upscale restaurant in downtown Harwichport, really adult-focused, a nice kind of Cape Cod or place. We've got a phenomenal chef that we brought in, very farm-to-table, fresh, freshly made, scratch everything guy. We've got, we've assembled a really great staff that I think could execute at a very high level and provide a high level of food, drinks, and wine for, not just the tourists in the summer, but for our year-round residents, right? As long as we're allowed to be open, we'll remain open for the locals as well as, for the summer folks. But I think that, we're really excited about, the opportunity to be able to add this restaurant to downtown. happy to answer any questions you guys want.
Before we get to that, is there anyone from the public who would like to make any comments relative to the request? All right,
Motion to close the public hearing?
Second?
moved and seconded to close public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, it's unanimous. From my perspective only, it's amazing to see, it's kind of like a phoenix rising from the middle of Harwich Port. 30 years ago, you wouldn't have had to look both ways across the street there in February, let me put it that way. It's an amazing resurgence of the area. So, and you're right, Milano's is a real credit, the way it's been operating.
Thank you.
So with that, go ahead, Mark.
Sure. Frank, you do a good job at Milano's. I like the fact that you're present in the restaurant quite a bit, which is great. What is the seating, and what is the staff? What's the number on that, roughly?
Seating's 100, let's call it. I think it's gonna be more than that, but for this liquor license meeting, it's gonna be 100. Staff is, what is it, 2, 4, it's like 10 maybe at any point in time.
Okay.
And I can speak to that a little bit more on the seating issue. Staff's obviously.
Yeah, before you go
Oh,
there,
I'm
you don't
sorry.
have to get too deeply into it. The request is for 100.
Yes.
That's what we're considering.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
And should you find, when the building's all done, that you want to request an additional amount, it's a matter of coming back to ask for
Yep.
an alteration of
That's
the
why
license.
100 for now is.
Exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
It's a 100 application. If they wanna see more, they'll come back for it.
Okay, then that's what we're going to be operating on, is the 100.
Yeah, and that's what we understand as well.
Just a follow-up question. Parking. Is there any on-site parking, or is it gonna be all, if you could just talk
A lot
about the
of on-site
parking?
parking, yes.
All on-site parking?
I said all, I said there's a lot of on-site parking. There's a whole plan that's been submitted to you guys that there's parking in the back and the side. There's a connected lot that we have across from like George's Pizza it's mostly private park. Dennis might be able to weigh in, but I forget, it's like more than 60 spaces, I think.
So you've got room.
I don't think that we would have been able to do it without
Okay.
the land that Dennis
Oh,
combined.
So when Dennis Miller, who owns the building, did the original special permit application, the reason that the 100-seat restaurant was listed in that manner was because the parking that came along with a special permit supported a 100-seat restaurant. There's all sorts of calculations when it comes to parking, vis-a-vis how many seats you can have, that has to factor in. So that's why the application came the way it did. When we mention a little bit more, that could be a Board of Health thing, but for now, there should be sufficient on-site parking for a 100-seat
Yeah,
restaurant.
we're fine.
One final question to you, Mr. Chair. Does our counsel, KP Law, have to review this application?
Well, ultimately, it's going to go to the ABCC as soon as we do anything.
Right.
And they review it.
I'm all set. Thanks.
Jeff, you have any?
Yeah, thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, thank you all for, at least most of you, for being here.
Oh, come on, some of our meetings are louder than that.
Oh, thank you for being here, and if I were you, I'd be drinking all the time. So, anyway, great Harwich family, very thorough in your process and procedure. You've demonstrated to be a fantastic partner to the town already with Milano's. I've spoken to your staff behind your backs. They think you are phenomenal owners. They couldn't ask for a better place to be employed. What's the targeted opening date, if I could ask?
It's,
You got to have
we're
a
trying to
building
open
first.
for the
Oh,
summer.
I understand. Just looking for the time. What would your
We'd love
hope
to
be?
be open by 4th of July weekend. We have the people ready to do it. We just need to finalize the permits to get there.
Yeah, thank you. I wholeheartedly support this application, Mr. Chair. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you. Thanks, Jeff.
No, I don't really have anything to add, other than what's been said, but you've done a fabulous job with the restaurant that you've got, and look forward to the new restaurant coming in to Harwich Port, which will be, I'm sure, well-received.
I hope so. We hope
Thank
so.
you. Thank you very much.
I know I read it somewhere. Is this lunch and dinner? Lunch and dinner?
Yeah, we're planning on doing lunch and dinner, potentially a Sunday brunch too. It's all
Yeah.
depends on what you can staff, but that's the idea.
Yeah, okay, I know I read it somewhere. What's the approximate outdoor seating?
I think it was like, we had 23 seats, I think, out there.
It kind of lines from on the front sidewalk to the side, is that what it is?
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of more space there than it looks like once you
Yeah.
get up there. It's there's probably 20 plus feet between the how, the sidewalk in the building.
Yeah, nice.
I think the most recent building plan is 23 seats outside.
Okay, yeah, excellent. I wish you a lot of luck.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Paul.
Mr. Chair, if I could, just to let everyone here know, I toured the property. I went through it with Frank, and I went through it with Dennis. Very well laid out, very well done. Really looking forward to this. I think this will be a great addition to the Harwich Port area.
Well, since Pete didn't ask the question, I'm going to channel Pete, who's made this epic comment in the past. Just out of curiosity, I'm wondering whether you are a restaurant that serves some liquor or a bar that serves some food.
No, we're a restaurant.
Okay.
I even put it in there. Food is our big focus.
Just wanted to hear that.
Yeah, food is our big focus.
For anyone who might be concerned in the area, we will continue to quote that as probably one of the most epic comments out of the board over the
And you
last.
can see it though through the thread of what
It's
what
like
Frank
Milano's.
submitted. I mean,
It's like
yeah.
food, we do a healthy, wine and liquor business, but it's majority's food by far.
I got it. Okay, you looking for a motion?
Chair, I don't have it in front of me, but motion to grant requested license for Three Harbors Coastal Kitchen LLC, DBA Three Harbors Coastal Kitchen, 575 Route 28.
Second.
Seasonal pouring license.
Seasonal on-premise all alcohol beverage liquor license.
Thank you. Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Good luck.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Mark. Thanks. Thanks, Jim.
I still like that quote. I will continue to use that quote. It's a great quote. All right, debrief on the annual town meeting. Before we dive into that deeply, one of the headline items, and some people have been talking about that on social media too, but they wouldn't know. Jay and I have been talking about this for weeks now, probably longer than weeks. I was a little personally disappointed about the process, but when you have alligators up to your hips, especially with 8 contracts that need to be solved, a budget that needed to be resolved, a town meeting warrant to be closed, and then the actual conduct of town meeting, we weren't able to do it, and they basically deferred the petition articles to past practice, which had the unfortunate, I spent an hour and a half with Patrick at one point, discussing what could occur in his, right, Patrick? Yes. Okay, so there was no grand conspiracy going on. It is an uncomfortable situation that we put everybody in. I get that. There was nothing much we could do about it this year. Jay's already been exploring different towns and what their policies are about how they assist their citizens before the actual deadline date, to make sure that matches up with Pete's expectations, that we don't spend a ton of money on a lawyer for you folks to actually file these things. We're going to have the process work through the town administrator's office. Used to be done that way a decade ago. We kind of got away from it. So, and you're right, delineating the difference between the process that was followed and the actual substance of what you're requesting is an important one. And I don't want the baby to be thrown out with the wash water in these discussions. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's a smooth road going through town meeting, but this should be about ideas and not about goaltending. So before anybody starts complaining about what happened, we're already aware that we were in the middle of a problem, and then we're working on resolving it. I know Jay's got some thoughts on it, but I was going to agenda that in a future meeting for us to develop a policy based off of an existing town policy. So that's the first thought. We could do better, and we're going to try to do better. The second thought, just off the top of my head, I thought that it was, most of the discussion was civil, got a lot of work done over 2 nights. Props to our 50-year-plus now town moderator, who always does a terrific job. And I thought we came out of this with a well-ordered town meeting warrant and some spirited discussion, and I thought we did a good job as a town. So, anyone else wants to bring up any part of it relating to that?
I would just say, Mr. Chair, and I'm sure everybody is gonna speak to this, and you just alluded to it, is that, we should have, for lack of a better word, a coaching session with the petitioners prior to their articles being submitted, so there's not a lot of back and forth, and it's too late to be corrected in times for town meeting. I think that's been spoken about and that's covered. The only other thing I would like to say, for a lot of the petition articles, I would like to see in the future the town departments to weigh in. For example, on Article 56, multifamily development special permits. For me personally, zoning is a very confusing subject, so I would like to hear, and I think the public would like to hear at these meetings, input from our town departments, because they have a vantage point of knowing the background, and I think they could work together with petitioners to come up with a good petition. Another example, I would have liked to have heard the DPW to weigh in on the rodenticide. I just want to make sure that, this preventative measure doesn't cause problems for other places in town, and also have the health department weigh in. So those are my two things. I think the town departments are not against the petitioners. They can enrich the petitions, and I think the petitioners also need consultation with our town attorney so we can have a smooth process going through. Thank you.
There again, we inherited that from the prior town administration. I'm not sure that we all feel the same way sitting at this table. So it's a valid criticism, but that was something that was followed for about 5 years, that you can't go directly to a department. I think it's shooting ourselves in the foot because it only escalates the item to a higher tension level, because it's things that could be readily resolved at a lower level. I know the planning board is kind of stuck with holding a public hearing that they had absolutely no connection to. So it would be helpful if we connected these things to the relevant departments and boards before they ever show up. And that would, Duncan, you're on the audience. I know I've recommended that when we're talking about things like this, if you're talking about zoning articles, we should be talking about them in October, maybe November. We shouldn't be talking about them in March. And unfortunately, by forcing the petitioners into a corner where they have to wait for the expiration date for the public petitions to come in, there's really no bandwidth for that between that time and when you have to set up a hearing.
I couldn't agree more, and I think I've had a lot of back and forth with Brian Sullivan of ZBA and Ken Dixon, and we would really like to see a kind of revamped version of a working group where we can look at all inbound zoning changes, put it through a filtration process months before we get to, the 6-month point. So like, in the fall, where we have an idea of what's going on. And just speaking of my own personal recollection, back when Captain's Row zoning was put into place, that was actually brought to the town. The zoning department, the planning department embraced it. It actually became became an initiative petition. So it was just wicked up. So I think all great stuff, great ideas, they may not start off great, but, philosophically, there was some great stuff that was lost only because it didn't get the vetting that it deserved. And I do think there were also some kind of, philosophically interesting, politically motivated ones that were, hot button issues, but they fell through because they were adversarial. And so you can't ask people to have a broad change in bylaws and code based on kind of like an emotional issue without having, then when somebody stands up and say, well, what does it cost? You don't have any answers. It says, the applicant says $0. Well, we all know that's not right. So I think that's part of the process that you're talking about, is filtering it, a multi-stage filtration system. And I would very much like to see us in the planning, zoning, building area kind of link arms and work together with that.
Well, and as you know, you and I, when we were in different places and not in the current positions, were working on that TCPC for quite some time.
Right.
But it was quite some time. And
Right.
one thing I do know about zoning, and that's another prop, to the people who put things in at the town meeting. I served on the planning board. If you make a mistake in the planning board, you're looking at your mistake for 20 to 30 years at a minimum.
Right,
There's nothing that we could possibly do at this board here that we can't fix.
right.
That's not the case with poor zoning decisions. So it's even more important to have a more robust discussion than other items, because you're right, they're all complex. It's extremely difficult to read that stuff, and you also have to be conversant with what other things exist and how they interact with those things. And at that point, it becomes as clear as mud if you're trying to describe at a town meeting without any kind of background.
Right. And one other thing is, I would just also add that in filtering some of these, the zoning articles in particular, I am a firm believer that when you have different viewpoints and different perspectives, you come to the table and you work something out, you get something better if everybody's honest and, is working toward the same goal. And I think our process here in this town is set up for that. I think we've had all sorts of victories based on that, and I think that we have plenty to look forward to if we do go ahead with this kind of work group concept, and we'll be talking about that, I'm sure, here soon enough. Thank you.
Okay. If this isn't on that topic, I just want to defer to the board to see if, yes, Jay.
Mr. Chair, I just wanted to read out, you had referenced the Brewster policy, and I had taken
I
a
didn't
look at
name
that.
it, but that's who it
Okay,
was.
sorry. I'll let the cat out of the bag. The Brewster policy, and I'm just going to read, because I think it kind of ties into what everybody's kind of said here. Also, makes it clear that it's not just you come to me, or if that's the process we set up, and I go to town council and they work on it. Before beginning the process, the petitioner should adequately research the topic and assess the effect on the proposed changes on existing laws, bylaws, and regulations. Further, it is strongly recommended that the petitioner meet with the town manager, department heads, and/or all boards and committees that have jurisdiction over the subject matter in order to seek feedback and advice in advance of drafting their petition. This process should be started early enough to leave sufficient time for review and suggested modifications prior to the article being submitted. By doing so, the petitioner may decide to amend their petition based on the feedback of the employees and/or boards committee, and may choose not to move forward with it, period. So I think that kind of encapsulates the conversation.
And as I
pretty
said,
well.
I'm going to put that on an agenda so that we can have a discussion about whether we want to
Yeah,
adopt it
that's-
or not as a policy. But we're looking around was the real point that I was trying to make, is that we didn't think everything went perfect and there's no room for improvement, so.
That covers, in staff, boards, committees. I mean, it's a pretty good start to a plan.
Richard?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Welcome, Mr. Mulcahy. Richard Waystack of Harwich. It's difficult, to do planning by petition. And I think having a policy in place will solve a lot of this. One of the discussions we're having, and hopefully we will have with you next week when we do our joint meeting with the Charter Commission, is looking at 2 town meetings and having one potentially in the fall, getting feedback from the public to see what they think, so there is time to go through the process, go through a policy, and bring zoning articles in the fall when there is more time. You're absolutely correct, Mr. Chair. It's been a crazy 6 months here in this town, trying to get everything accomplished. And to have someone file a petition that has a major impact on planning without the input of all the different departments just doesn't make sense. Frustrates the petitioner, takes a huge amount of time at town meeting, and if we do have the potential for a fall town meeting, could solve some of these problems. We look forward to our discussion next week with you to vet that subject.
We haven't gotten to that part of the discussion yet, but thank you. Any comments from the board? I mean, not restricted to this, just anything at all about the town meeting.
Specific to this, I don't necessarily disagree, but it's all within reason, right? Folks want to bring, and I think what Jay was just reading from Town of Brewster leads to this direction, which is the folks who want to bring the petition forward, the onus is on them to do quite a bit of the homework initially, and to craft, or at least to begin crafting what their thoughts are. I'm in support of, utilizing legal, department head committees to bounce things off of, to have a conversation. But where I would draw the line is that, and I'm not saying this was proposed by any stretch, but it's not necessary for the department and or the committee to adopt it and to run with it. They may have other things on their agenda or on their plate at that time and don't have the time to invest in said article. It may be something they just wholeheartedly disagree with. Whatever the situation is, it isn't incumbent upon that department or committee to then take it and own it. And I think the other thing we need to realize, and it was alluded to by Duncan and others, sometimes these things take years, right? It's not one town meeting. Even when it's brought forward by the town, it's not one town meeting. It sometimes takes several years to get these things accomplished. They need to be, refined and improved, and ultimately you get to where you want to be. So, enough on that subject for me. Overall, town meeting is always one of those things that perplexes me, but I don't think there's a better form of government. I'm always interested and somewhat intrigued by what articles or discussions lead to lengthy discussions, right? To this day, and I'll just use a rough number, you can approve an $85 million budget in 7 seconds, yet $1,200 could take you 3.5 hours.
Well put.
Drives me crazy, but in a good way. I love the debate, I love the discussion, as much as my colleagues, and I know the town administrator and Jen Mintz, if she's listening, don't want to hear this, but I'd love a little more debate on the budget, a few more questions, some clarity. I think we had one the other night, which was a great question, but there was one. Now I'm going to sound like I'm pandering. I think we were extremely fortunate, and not that I'm opposed to pandering, but this is not it. I think we were extremely fortunate to have Mike Ford as our town moderator that night, or those nights. His knowledge and understanding of the clickers was tremendous. I think he knew when to utilize them to speed the meeting up and when not to utilize them to speed the meeting up. So I thought it worked well. I see both pros and cons to the clickers. However, just focus on time. I think it was a success. It's 7:30, 8 o'clock on Tuesday night. I didn't think there was a chance in hell we were getting out of there. And sure enough, at 10 o'clock, we were on Article 62. So job well done by Mr. Ford and others. And my only other ask would be in the future, we can do something about the temperature in that room.
He's staring at you, Carolyn.
Nope. She was the assist, and I thanked her that night, so
She
I
did a
thank
good
her
job
again
helping us.
publicly, yep.
You opened the air conditioner, but somebody closed it.
All set, thank you.
Before we go on, I just want to make it clear, because I didn't want to be cute and cryptic about this. I'll speak on behalf of the petitioners back there. It's not that they had a difficult time, is that they were completely explicitly closed out from talking to staff. They were not allowed. So I'm sure we can do something better than that to accommodate the discussions in the future. And again, what Pete said is correct. It may not be something we can come to a conclusion that we'd agree to on the policy, but there was no grand conspiracy that was designed to just befuddle you with process so that you couldn't finish a sentence without somebody challenging you with a point of order. That's not what was going on. And we were very aware of, the situation. Couldn't do anything about it as it was happening, because that happened in January. So it wasn't possible to go back. But if it's going to go down, it should go down on the merits of what's being said.
Good evening, Board. Michael McCaskill, Harwich Center. Welcome aboard. Thank you. It should go down on the merits of what it says. And I recognize that you're going to have this conversation multiple times with the board, and what Jay read from the town of Brewster sounds like a good starting point. The merits of what it said is key, because when the petitioner is standing up firing false information, on one article it was related to a tree. I won't mention anybody by names, but it was related to a tree, and the poor tree lost its life because of a limb that had fallen off of it and was stuck. It actually got cut down because it was an obstruction as I'm sure that you know, Mr. Chair, because we've had this conversation for years, it blocked the sidewalk in Harwich Center, but that didn't come out. It was because of the poor limb. Another petitioner stood up related to fertilizer and said no town property uses fertilizer, only the raindrops. Well, why do we have an $80,000 contract with Cranberry Valley to take care of the high school and the Mariners Field? Pretty sure they're not putting non-fertilizer down. But false information is really key at town meeting, and I would caution this board on getting too involved in somebody's wild ideas that they want us to make legal for them. And as far as department heads meeting with them, I see no reason why they can't. But I would agree with Pete. They shouldn't weigh in. It's the petitioner that should sell the article with honest facts at town meeting. And I would say that since we're trending around 3% of the people in the town of Harwich that vote going to town meeting, we're losing them rapidly by all these wild ideas. And I know we have to put them forward, but 12 petition articles? Every person that I talked to this year that didn't go to town meeting said that they couldn't deal with another night of exhausting conversation about something that's not legal. One petitioner actually said, the same one that wants access to town council, I don't agree with KP law, so I'm not going to listen to him. So now you want access to him, but you're not going to listen to him? So I hope that you have long, deep conversations about this, because it's gotten completely out of hand. Thank you.
And believe me, there's nothing that we're going to do that I believe is going to completely solve this so we won't hear about it ever again. This is going to be continuing discussion. Patrick?
Yeah, once again,
Depends for the other side.
No, and thank you for recognizing the problem and proposing solutions, because it has been frustrating. So I'm really pleased to be standing
That's why I
here.
met with you, Patrick.
Yes, yeah, so thank you. Just for correction, I did not say the town only puts water on. I said it's the schools that only put water on it. So that was a correct statement. I'll forward the quote directly to you, Mr. McCaskill, if you would like me to.
Please, let's not get into a back and forth.
I know.
We're not
Just-
litigating the
Yeah.
prior town meeting. We are dissecting it for future improvements.
So, my question while I'm here is, why does citizens petition exist? Why are they here? Many cases, it's because they're filling the gaps where town government is not acting, all right? Petitioners, citizens see issues and problems, and they say, how about this for a solution? It would be nice if we could somehow bring that to the boards, to the committees, and have them act on it independently, rather than always having to come back to a petitioner to have a problem resolved and solved. Does that make sense?
I get what you're saying. The only thing I want you to ponder, because you have plenty of time until next year's town meeting for this, it kind of reminds me of dealing with my own kids as a 5-year-old, and they finally get to the point of saying, "You're not listening to me." And I would respond, "I am listening. You're not liking what I'm responding." So just because you put a petition in doesn't mean that there's been this pent-up demand from the public, and if only we could get them in front of somebody at a town meeting, it'll be so obviously perfect that they'll agree with you and not with the rest of the town. Sometimes the ideas are just not something that the town wants to accept. Sometimes they are something that they hadn't thought of. But, and I'll say one last thing. I have said to your face on numerous times, I don't always agree with you, but I will absolutely defend to the death your right to say what you say. And I will continue saying that, because that's what town meeting is about.
Yeah.
But again, don't confuse winning with being right, because they're not the same exact thing.
Okay, good, thank you.
Just for the record, and I won't debate all of that, the school does not just put water on its fields. They subcontract, as the petitioner knows, with the town to put the fertilizer down. So the school, in essence, puts fertilizer down because they pay for it.
Okay, now we're done with the fertilizer. Other parts of the meeting, anybody want? Yes, Terry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Excuse me if I'm out of order, but I do have a quick question. Would you please tell me what the interest on the debt is in the budget? I just couldn't find that answer anywhere.
And it would be my luck that you asked that question when our finance director is not here tonight.
But don't you guys,
I could get
excuse
back
me,
to her.
don't you folks know?
We could get back to you, not offhand.
Off the
I
top
mean,
of my head, no. The total
that'd be
debt?
like asking me how much interest I owe on my credit
I know
cards.
that debt's about $83 million. I do know that.
I'd be happy to email you that.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that, sir.
We have our email address.
I don't have internet, but I have a
But Mr.
phone.
Jim will
Chori,
call you.
Mr. Chori sitting on the side knows that I have made comments through the years that it's not just the interest, it's the actual borrowing, and it's a self-inflicted wound. For people who are really worried about our debt position, they might want to consider, as Pete said, spending 6 seconds on voting on a budget. Then they might want to delve a little deeper on where their money's going. Because we can only do what we're proposing and what it costs. But if the public prioritizes something different, then they have every right to say no. And I would suggest, we're at that point now, we're pretty close to the cap. So, again, all things considered, we did quite a bit of work at this town meeting, and we've covered a lot of ground. And kudos to Jay and Jen. We have a refreshing amount of information coming in. Was it everything we wanted? Probably not, but was it more than we ever got before? Yeah, a whole lot more. So the only way that you can hold a town meeting successfully is when everybody that walks in has some clue about what it is that they're being asked to vote on. And that was a hell of a good start to have Jen make her indebtedness presentations, and for you to come up with that town meeting handbook, which was
Emily did a
really,
good job helping us as well.
which was really readable. So it's a terrific job all around. Jeff?
Sure.
Just a couple of thoughts. And I'll just start with the topic we're already on, which is the petitions. I absolutely wholeheartedly support the concept in the future discussions that we will have to streamline this process. Streamlining it for this board, for the public, for town meeting, for committees, boards, you name it, there needs to be a better process in place. That being said, I think when the process is put into place, it will give the petitioners a greater opportunity to, as Pete put it, you know, the onus is on them to figure out what they're trying to pitch the town meeting, so to speak. There was a lot was unclear as I was sitting there at town meeting. The petitioners were having a hard time even trying to articulate what they were asking for. And I could, you know, we had the benefit of looking outward, and a lot of the faces in the crowd were of confusion. And I think that, a process that we could put together may help the petitioners streamline and organize their thoughts. And, I don't have a problem with them meeting with staff, but I would absolutely like to have the discussion as to what our direction to staff and to committees on how far they can take it would go. Because as I've been told on numerous occasions by many people, that the town's fingerprints cannot be on a citizen's petition in any way, shape, or form. And I've met with two of the petitioners who chose to not take my suggestions. And they were loose suggestions, they weren't concrete suggestions, but they chose to continue along their path with my information in their back pocket. And what happened was predictable in my opinion. One petitioner came without putting a diameter of a tree on a petition. I don't know how, in what universe, anybody would ever vote for a blank, a fill in the blank for a citizen's petition. That just sets the public up for just a wild ride. So you know, there's a lot that can happen between now and next year, for sure. But my last point on the petitions or petitioners is, you know, the water's warm. Jump in, become a committee member, become a board member, get on some kind of government body to gain the information that's needed to even really begin the process of creating a citizen's petition, because this board and our other committees and boards, like Mr. Berry out here, spend thousands of hours a year making sure we understand what it is we're speaking about. It must be impossible for a petitioner in 4 weeks to try to figure out how to make a bylaw change, or how you know, a gentleman spoke earlier about Pine Oaks Village and the people not having the ability to vent. Those people had almost 3 years to vent, and they did it. And town meeting, it was not on the agenda. That was not the topic of conversation. So, again, with our continued discussion, even informing the public who's not putting a citizen's petition together, how a citizen's petition should work and what goes into it, I think would be a great newsletter for Jay in maybe like July, August, or September, so that the public understands what is actually happening in real time on town meeting floor. And then, you know, just reading some of the things that have popped up, the level of, I would say, counterfactual information that's being thrown out to the public right now
Write that
about.
down, counterfactual.
Counterfactual, write that one down. It's, you know.
They used to
it's-
call that false, but.
I can call it false too, but there's a great deal of false information that was peddled at town meeting and is also now being peddled online. And I've got them all right here highlighted. I'm not gonna bore everybody with them, but.
Oh, please.
I'm not gonna do it, Pete. But I'll say the clickers were a success.
Yes, they were.
They were a great success, and I think if we can streamline citizens petitions, we might be able to get this down to maybe a night and a half.
If we do 2 town meetings, it would be less than that.
Well, that's for another conversation, but, you know, at the end of the day, I think town meeting was a success, with the caveat that we, as a board, I think are gonna do one heck of a job between now and the next one to even make it, the next one better. So, and yeah, Jay coming in, we had Mr. Schiavi, we had Natasha and Jen, and I mean, it was yeoman's work, or someone's work, to really pull this together.
Yo persons.
Yo person's work, and everybody who brought it together needs to really be commended. So, thank you to the public, thank you to all who stood up, thank you to the petitioners. Yeah, thanks, that's what I got.
Duncan Berry again. I just wanted to back up what Mr. Handler is saying. And I think one of the surprising, at least to me, surprising events of the evening was to spend an inordinate amount of time on a planning board or planning department request for cash to do a study for form-based code. And that was the hot topic of all the capital outlay discussions that night, and I was kind of shocked because form-based code is something very clear and specific. It has, you can research it, look it up, and as a counterfactual, it was presented as
We're never gonna lose that word.
Form-based.
Did I teach you a word?
Well, I'm going somewhere else here. We'll have something for you on that one.
Goodness.
A juicy little dessert morsel.
Okay.
So the idea that that form-based code is the enemy, because all I see with form-based code is stuff that I don't like, is like saying, you know, I don't like asphalt because it's covering all these roads up and everything, but discounting the fact that it's how you drive your car to get to where you want to go. So it's, all right, here you go. It's the availability bias. Have you ever heard of that one?
That's weak. I got that in the back.
Cognitive is a cognitive bias that all you see, if all you see is one interpretation of something, you think that interpretation for the whole group is that one thing. And this is one of these things that's getting peddled, a falsehood about form-based code that's getting peddled. And I just, I'm surprised. I made this explanation at this board, at Capital Outlay Committee. We've had discussions in public. We've, I just don't know how far we're going to have to go to clarify some basic language here. And the falsehoods, I mean, they're part of free speech, I guess, but it certainly does not help the smooth motion of the wheels of our little government here. And I'm completely with you on that, Mr. Ambler. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, could I just respond?
Not until I say, and yet you won. Go on.
Yeah, I made a point today at the Affordable Housing Trust meeting, and I said something to the effect of, that is the perfect place to have that discussion. Whether it be about form-based code or Affordable Housing Trust or any of the other, myriad of things that came up, because you have everybody literally in one room at the same time. You've got the select board, the finance, the legal, you've got the committees, you've got the public, you've got opponents, you've got proponents, everybody in the room at one time. So to your point, Mr. Berry, when form-based code comes back in front of the select board for your findings, you haven't even got off the starting line yet, to really dive in and understand what it is you're looking at. When it comes back, I expect a real good spirited discussion right here, where we've got administration, we've got legal, we've got select board, we've got the public. So, I would just caution, everybody from throwing out information that is just more feeling and emotion than it is fact-based. And I think, this town will do better when that's removed from, the weekly narrative. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Sure. And to Duncan's point, I did feel kind of badly about the way the discussion was going, because have there been some form-based blunders in different towns? Yeah, but that's kind of like having a discussion, we should ban all cars because people get into accidents. With respect to trying to get to where we want to go, that things that are being proposed are consistent with the neighborhood they're going into, that's form-based code. How somebody implements it, whether badly or well, is a whole other discussion, and that's the second half of the discussion we never got into there, which is why we need a study. So, as I said, town meeting agreed to the study, so go forward and prosper, but make sure that you answer the questions about, and be honest, there's some places where they use that as a cudgel against people, where once you get one thing in there, they start pointing to that, well, that's the form that we're working on now, and then it gets populated almost like an infestation, which is not, I know, what you are looking for. It's trying to preserve the existing character, yet still allow things to get done. Further discussion before we move on. Jay?
I have one real fact that we can use.
One, as opposed to a
We'll
fake
decide.
Yeah, I'll be the judge of
All
that.
right, okay. Well, based
We'll have
on
to check
our,
with Verifact.
based on our aggregate debt service, we paid $1,104,111.12 in interest last year.
Repeat that number?
Thank you so much.
$1,104,111.12.
I'm so glad it wasn't 13 cents.
Was not 13 cents.
We didn't want to round it up.
Yeah, I guess.
Jen Mintz is at dinner, but somehow was able to figure that out from dinner with her wife.
She is never off duty.
Still
I
working.
didn't know that, and I didn't know that until after, to be fair to me.
Thank you for that factoid.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Any other
You can take
discussion?
that off the plate tomorrow, Jim.
Thank you.
All right, move along. This sounded almost indelicate here. Let's start off with thanking the local planning committee. You produced. You spent these many decades working on this, on the plan, and you deserve a lot of credit for sticking with it. And what it does do, without stealing your thunder here, actually, as someone who's written one himself, it needs to be a roadmap. I get the idea that everybody wants to see critical junctures and report on what the progress is, but the reality is, it's like a roadmap. You need the roadmap to know how to get where you want to go, and you need to follow it, but that doesn't give you the destination all the time. For those people who say we shelve these things, I guarantee you it isn't going to happen with these folks here. The one that we passed in 2000 talked about we didn't want everybody to sit at a cash register because that wasn't a good future for the people in town to thrive financially. We have Outer Cape Healthcare. We have Fontaine. They were a direct offshoot of that discussion. We started talking about preserving the environment. Thematically, there's an awful lot in that plan that's very consistent with where we were 25 years ago. And it talked about preserving the environment, about how we would never get it back again if we didn't give it the proper attention. That's where the Six Ponds District came from shortly thereafter, in an attempt to actually start protecting the areas that we consider to be at risk. So I expect no less from this plan. There's a lot of good stuff in there. We've already talked about even the housing part, where we had a preference, and we've always had that preference. You and I had that discussion about a year or so ago. It wasn't about throwing up a bunch of big boxes and throwing people in them, calling them those people. It was about fitting people in within the context of a community, whether that meant fixing older buildings to do that, retrofitting buildings, adding smaller projects here and there to backfill. But it was always, the word community was always at the base of that, and that's really what your plan is talking about. So before anybody starts thinking it's anti-housing or anti-growth, it isn't. It's more about stigmatizing the problem. We don't live in an area that's had apartment buildings. People don't get into a car to drive to Cape Cod to see a place that looks like the one they just left when they got into the car. We have a special and unique place, and there was a lot of stuff that's in your plan that honored that, so I appreciate all the effort.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Joyce McIntyre. And really, it's not my plan, it's our plan. I mean, I just, kept putting...
Somebody had to effectuate it.
Kept putting in the agendas and keep meeting, persistence. So, and thank you to you all who really stuck with us. I mean, really an endurance sport, a marathon. So, thank you. And, for the public record, I mean, I think the LPC welcomes our dissolution. Being dissolved formally, we understood that this
sounds harsh when you say it.
No, I'm joking. I'm using it's a wordsmith kind of night. But understood that our charge was that we were a temporary committee, ad hoc, whatever the correct term is, and look for, and there's purpose to that, right? That it's not supposed to be, it's supposed to be temporary in terms of setting the map, as you say, and there's strength in that, and then, going on, and I think it was a positive experience. And my last, I would be remiss in my responsibility if I didn't sort of just ask the question and hear a little bit and put on the record what Select Board and our distinguished administration is thinking about in terms of what makes sense in terms of using it going forward. I agree it's not like a checkbox, it's not like by this time this has to be done, but we had spoken a little bit earlier, and I think the community wants to hear a little bit how you're thinking about potentially using it, and then we can be dissolved.
To play off of what Mr. Handler said earlier, there's a lot of folks that gained an awful lot of information during the process that are on your committee.
Right.
The regulatory bodies in this town have always been in need of people, not just the first person through the door, but people who are serious, who actually know how things interact. I've already talked to a couple of your members. One of the things that we could do is populate relevant boards like the Conservation Commission, Board of Appeals, the Planning Board, with people who've already demonstrated a real interest in what the town of Harwich is and is going to become. Because I can tell you right now, if this thing becomes a test of, okay, how far have you gotten in 6 months?
Right, yeah.
Well, I know, but
Yeah.
if it does, then everybody's going to be missing the point. They're going to be looking at the deadline and not what it is we're trying to accomplish. I would like to co-opt as many people as possible from there, because they've done a deep dive in the town and in the way the town operates. So right away, they're way up, a leg up over people who would normally apply for boards. So I would encourage everybody that's on the committee. As I said, I've talked to two personally. That's how I see this happening, is you cross-pollinate to make sure that they've got some pride of authorship themselves, and I'm sure that if they get into these situations, they're not going to let them go. I know the planning board's not going to. Because the planning board historically has been, there's been speed bumps here or there, but historically has always honored the comprehensive plans and tried to execute whatever it was on paper out there in reality. So no one, I don't think there's anybody in this board that says, yeah, that's right, let's throw it in a drawer and move on. To your point, if the public's expecting something like weekly as an update, that's not going to happen. But
No, of course not.
But we were, just so everybody knows, because you know this, but anybody who got involved just superficially, we were involved in an awful lot of dialogue. The plan that you delivered in the end is not the plan you started off with.
Tremendously, and that's the strength of, let's say, it really is the people's plan. I was trying,
But I'm just
board
saying
had
that-
a huge input, a huge
I'm just saying
input.
that we wouldn't
Yes.
have engaged like that if we were just going to dismiss the
Correct.
thing.
Correct.
So there's an awful lot of us in the plan as well.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Members. Jeff,
I would just echo.
graduate of the local planning committee.
Well, yeah, and
Our steadfast liaison, yes.
proud to be part of it all the way through,
Yeah, it
from
was awesome.
your vice
Yep.
chair, and I think
Yep.
you've done an incredible job, and, and then being your liaison. But, today, in two of my decisions, at both of my meetings today, the local comprehensive
Great.
plan was in the forefront of my mind, and discussing at the Affordable Housing Trust today of small cluster, single unit or couple unit developments for home ownership. And that came straight from the local comprehensive plan. And then, tonight the blue economy was in front of us. And for those who might not understand that, that's utilizing our greatest resource for the betterment of the economy and the side benefits, nitrogen removal and all kinds of other great stuff. But, decisions that are going to be made at this board, at the meetings that this board holds and other meetings that other boards and committees hold, hopefully, the public catches a piece of the local comprehensive plan and many of the decisions that are going to be made on a daily basis here in the town of Harwich. And that was largely part of why I was aiming at a yes vote for the ARC project. So, it's going to be there for me, and I'm here for another 3 years, like it or not. So that's how I'm going to keep putting it in play.
I'll ride shotgun with you.
You're with me.
Still have an election to go, but gentlemen,
You're running a sticker campaign we're not aware of.
no, nobody's that crazy. Anyway,
Thank you for the compliment.
in my real simplistic thoughts with this plan is, we have a lot of folks in this town that have paid, money to work for this town on behalf of the town. And so they will be charged with understanding the plan and making sure that we adhere to it. Again, as we said, when appropriate, when necessary.
yeah.
So, but that's how I foresee this thing playing out. We have a lot of good people here in town that
Tremendous,
know how
yes,
to
tremendous.
execute on what you folks and ultimately the town meeting delivered. So I see good things coming from it.
Nita?
I just want to thank you for all the work that you put forward. It was a wonderful plan, and looking forward to it being put in place.
Mark?
No, just thank you for 3 years worth
No,
of work
thank you for engaging with us.
for you and your committee.
It's our
3
pleasure.
years is a long time.
We had a lot of fun. It's a plug for, community service. So, and I'll step away. I think the forum for community engagement was huge, right? And I really learned something from that, like where folks felt like their voice was making a difference in all this discussion tonight. And lastly, just I think to what Mr. Pekarsky had said, just to take that in this last prior meeting of, might be cool, quarterly or biannually or whatever makes sense for you. There are sort of whatever makes sense in the format of this meeting, and the town's business, of course, defer to you about that. There were prioritized sort of, and it would be kind of cool. It's like a little, not that it's all about a checkbox, but some sort of periodic check-in about accomplishments might be a feel-good, positive direction, for Harwich. That would be my last plug, because there are those sort of ranked at one moment in time what seems maximally effective and very possible. And actually, we probably all learned from something to see like how things change too, and sort of some transparency around dialogue about that. So that'll be my last plug. Thank you very much.
Just as a point of information, you're going to be before the Affordable Housing Trust next month, aren't you?
I will get it on the calendar. I will come if I am asked. Yes, delighted to.
Isn't it?
Delighted to. I'm happy to.
But for the public's information, our trust is going to be bringing you in to go over housing in Harwich.
Yeah,
So-
delighted to serve. And a plug for, every single member of our committee at various times through these 3 years took the baton and showed an astonishing amount of leadership to get this done. No one can do something that big over this period of time. So to your point, Mr. Hell, please, take advantage of that big and broad and deep team, and they'd be delighted. I'm speaking on their behalf. They would be delighted to serve. Yes.
As you go forward, recognize that even the conversation earlier tonight about form-based coding, code has everything to do with what we want the town to look like.
Yep.
It's not,
I shared my open-mindedness about that. Agreed.
it is not a consumptive plan.
Correct.
We just build anything we feel like.
Correct.
So, again, you'll be seeing that infused in pretty much every discussion. I know Michael and I have talked about how big a project has to be. The margin of success isn't like how many people we could throw in a building, how quickly.
Agreed. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, if I may make a motion? Mr. Chair, I move that we vote to dissolve the select board and let the no, that's not what I want to do. Mr. Chair, I move that we vote in the affirmative to dissolve the local planning committee, effective immediately, with a huge amount of gratitude for their work.
Second.
It's moved and seconded to dissolve the committee as it was an ad hoc committee, and with great thanks from the board. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I would have thought they'd all be here to participate in the giant giveaway that we were planning for your members, but nobody showed up, so we're going to have to send the car back.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
I move that we approve a special permit application for American Lung Association for a road race to be held on September 25, 2026, from 11 A to 1:30 P. Event to be held throughout Harwich.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the application for the American Lung Association. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve a special permit application for a one-day entertainment and a one-day liquor license, wines and malt, for Chris Moran, for an event to be held on June 13th, 2026, from 1 P to 4 P. Event to be held at the 204 Sisson Road.
Where's that?
Second.
That's at the Cultural Center.
That's where I thought you said.
That's on, I'm just reading what it says.
Okay. It's moved and seconded for the permit for one-day entertainment and liquor license for the Cultural and Municipals building.
Mr. Chair, through you, Mr. Town Administrator, is Chris Moore a tenant at 204?
No, I don't believe so.
And what is Hula Dances for Lulu? Oh.
Please.
I see you there. I'm almost satisfied just by seeing you.
I think he's inferring into this a little more than he probably should.
Is the question the hula dancer?
Yeah, I just didn't understand hula dancing for Lulu. I just was curious.
It's a luau and we decided to bring a hula dancer in, so that's
That's all I needed to hear.
as simple as that.
Thank you.
Okay? Yeah,
That's it.
thank you.
That's 2
Glad you
minutes
were
of
here.
my life I'll not get back, Mark, thanks.
I'm not sure what to make of that question, but, so, the motion's out there to approve a special permit and one-day entertainment and a one-day liquor license. Any further comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve a change of manager application for the Cranberry Liquors at Harwich Port, 555 Route 28.
Second.
It's moved and seconded to approve a change of manager application. Everything seemed to be in order.
Yeah, everything's in order.
So, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous.
Mr. Chair, this next item, I believe, has been asked to be postponed. Is that correct, Mr. Chair?
Correct.
Thank you. So we're postponing a request to approve a new common Vittler application for PM Inc., DBA Harwich Port House of Pizza, 330 Route 28. That is postponed.
All right, I'll give you props for saying Vittler, too, by the way.
Thank you. Well, I catch on
That's
quick
why I took
after
it.
3 years. I move that we approve a fee waiver request from the Association to Preserve Cape Cod for an event to be held on June 17th, 2026 at the Cultural Arts Municipal Building.
Second.
It's moved and seconded to approve the request for a fee waiver. I can almost guess what Mr. Pekarsky's going to say, but let him say it for himself.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just disagree with it. It's nothing to do with the organization. The cost associated with renting the facility goes directly back to the support that's required for that building to operate and for those folks to rent it. So although it may be a worthy cause, I disagree with waiving the fee.
Okay.
I agree
With what?
with not going, sorry, with not granting the waiver.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I do have questions about granting the waiver. It's 200 people for the day. And the APCC is a organization of substantial means. So I'm willing to hear what's good, what type of work they do for the community. But on the face of it, 200 people, I don't think it's much to pay. I think the fees, based on what I saw, would basically come to $500 or $600, roughly. But, you know, I've looked at their 2024 tax return. They had revenue of close to $3 million. So I think they have the means to pay for some, they have the means to pay for this type of use.
I hear you, although Coldbrook project and a whole bunch of other things were facilitated in combination between the trust and the APCC. They raise a lot of money, but they spend a lot of money, and their sole reason for existence is to preserve the environment of Cape Cod. So, I mean, I'll be voting for it, but one of my concerns is there is no, it's like an on-off switch. There's nothing in between, and I said this when we were approving these fees. They charge you or me the same amount of money as a 501c3, and there's no mechanism to go in between and say, it's a charitable, it's something that we want to do an abatement for, say, as opposed to a complete blessing of eliminating the fee. $500, I can tell you right now, for the organizations I get involved with, there's no way we could do that, because we'd be holding the event to pay for the event at the end. So in a longer-term thing, we need to look into how it is those fees are scheduled, recognizing that, I've said this before, and I'll say it again, that building is not even more than 50% being operated off of the people who are renting or doing events. It's mostly parts of the building we envision as being municipal. We don't charge anybody municipal stuff here. We do in the community center. So, again, there's no mechanism to abate.
Mr. Chair, funny you should mention that. So next week, we are hoping to have on the agenda a proposed fee schedule to look at some of those issues and inconsistencies in the fee schedule. So
Would that
whether or
affect
not,
this?
it could. I mean, you guys haven't adopted anything yet. One of the proposals that we're having is like a nonprofit rate. Not sure whether you'll support that or not, but that's one of the things that we have proposing in the fee schedule. But there's a lot of inconsistencies outside of just that. Like right now, if you want to rent, say, the baseball field in the back, it's $200 an hour. If you want to rent it for the whole week, it's still $200 an hour. So we have situations that just don't make sense. Like we had somebody come forward that wanted to rent a field in the back that sits dormant for a week, but we have no availability right now under the current fee schedule to be able to address that. So I had Kara put together a proposal that we're gonna have come in front of the board next Monday night that would look at some of these different scenarios, like weekly rentals and things like that. So it would potentially affect this, but this is not, this is a request for a waiver, complete waiver. That's not what we're proposing. We're proposing a discounted rate for nonprofits.
But it wasn't available to them, so.
It's not, no, it
It's-
would, you know.
At
I
this
also
point,
don't know.
this thing is off in the future by about a month plus. Do you want,
Could
can we just
hold off on
on it?
voting it until next week.
To see what it is you're gonna propose?
Yeah.
And then they can see what it is you're gonna propose?
Happy to do it. I mean, it's already
Sound like a
done.
solution.
It's just gonna be in front of the committee next week.
Did we have a second on my motion?
Mark?
Yeah, I second
So withdraw it if you'd like, and I'll withdraw my motion.
And we'll just wait for the presentation.
I withdraw my second.
And I withdraw the motion.
We'll let them know, though, that
Yeah.
it was
It
on the verge of
it won't be
being
what they're
rejected.
looking for, but it would be, you know, if it did pass, it would be a little bit of a discount, so.
And you need to say that, because I think they need to know that the sense of the board was it probably wasn't going to be accepted.
Okay. Happy to do that.
I thought you were going to enact the McGaskill rule tonight on fee waivers, and for many years.
That does not include me paying for their application.
So, you know, the thing is, waiving something, for the last few years, the board has virtually not waived any fees for that. I don't think it's fair to those organizations that have come in the past. I think having a policy, looking at a nonprofit rate is great, but I think it's difficult to pick and choose who's worthy of getting a fee waiver, who's not worthy. Very difficult to make that decision.
I'm a fan of the McCaskill rule, by the way.
He just has to pay for everything?
Yeah, but you're sitting in this,
Did we just get his address?
no, no, actually, you're sitting in, actually, Pete, you're sitting in a seat that I was sitting in when that was adopted, so that's the seat that gets to pay for all of the waivers that are not approved. All right. So,
Chair, I vote to approve the proposed fiscal year 2027 holiday schedule.
Second.
it's moved and seconded to approve the fiscal '27 holiday schedule. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous.
Mr. Chair, I move that we vote to approve the 2026 Long Pond Bass Tournament.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the 2026 Long Pond Bass Tournament. I knew there was a reason Mr. McCaskill stayed through the whole meeting.
Actually, no. I was having a good time with all the jokes and me being drawn into it. I asked last year when we voted this series of Long Pond tournaments. In May, the fish are all up on the beds and they're spawning. And I asked the rec director in a public meeting to get back to us with the mortality rate, any study from the division. These tournaments definitely, and I'm in the fishing business, definitely do damage to the fish in that pond. It's probably too late to go back and get anything at this point, I think, minus that department head. But it really is something that the town needs to look at, because that's everybody's resource. And if we allow tournaments, and some of them are live bait tournaments, those fish inevitably die, and they've been seen floating down the pond. So I would implore the board to please look into what the mortality rate of ripping fish off the beds during spawning season.
Question, Mr. Chair?
Sure.
And maybe Mike could answer this rather than Jake. Does the harbor master have to station a boat up there during these tournaments, or they're pretty independent, they just run as is?
Very independent. There's no harbor.
There's no harbor master?
No. And they're relatively small tournaments. I think some of the tournaments are 20-plus boats, but most of them are smaller than that. And it's good to have people active and doing it, but this particular time of year is the worst it could be for the fish. I just lost a bunch of sales doing that, but.
Well, all right, so the motion is to approve the, when is it supposed to go off?
5/9, 5/14, 5/17, then it kicks to 9/27, 10/4, and 10/10.
Wow,
So
good.
the 3 in May are the ones that are problematic, according to Mr. McCaskill, which I have no reason to disbelieve, so.
Yeah, I'm glad they gave us plenty of planning time. All right, so it's been moved and seconded to approve the tournaments. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Hold, before we take,
Yeah,
5/9.
5/9.
Thank you.
Did 5/9,
I
did they
know,
already
I
do
know
it?
what you're saying.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying, and that's why I'm getting to the vote.
Well, I'd like to know if 5/9 occurred before I vote.
Wouldn't be pertinent. It has to do with,
Pertinent to my vote.
they should have put it in before that in any event.
Agreed?
They did.
How long,
So it came to administration on April 30th. And we didn't meet.
well, they had 10 whole days then.
Well, they did submit it before the tournament.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm talking about. I can't believe they'd be putting together a tournament in 9 days. So I'm sure that's where Jeff is heading.
If there's still discussion available, we've passed this for the past 12 years, I believe, probably way before that, but I didn't pay any attention then. I wasn't getting up to try and stop the vote, and every year it has passed. It was more to say, we really do need to look into this. A lot of planning goes into these tournaments. A lot of these people come from off Cape and do business in the towns, restaurants, staying, gas, any number of things. So I'm not trying to block anything, just pointing out that we really should look at the data for next year.
I'm happy to work with Stephanie to try to look into that over the next year and come back to the board with a recommendation.
I'm happy to play my traditional role as the dissenting vote to send a message that you got it, but it wasn't unanimous. So with that, all in favor of approving the tournaments?
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye. So you can go back and mention to them that,
Yep, I'll work with Stephanie to sort this out.
that this is a developing problem if they don't want to address it.
Mr. Chair, I move that we that would be review and approve at the same time, just to save time here. I move that we approve a contract amendment with National Lawn Sprinklers, Inc. for an irrigation upgrade at Cranberry Valley Golf Course to amend dates of commencement and completion.
Second.
Okay, so moving and seconded to approve the contract amendment for the sprinklers irrigation system. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Town administrators report.
All right, just a few items this evening. First, I just wanted to formally welcome Jim as the new Assistant Town Administrator.
Still want to stay?
I do. I'll come in tomorrow, too. So
Jim's first day was today. I think it was a productive day. Kind of shadowed me around all day and probably continue to do that most of the week. And
Yep.
it's nice to have the office fully staffed. Jen and Natasha seem open to the new people and new faces and new energy in the office. So happy to have them and welcome.
Thank you, Jay. Appreciate it.
You'll love the staff.
No, it's been great.
I mean, you'll love the staff.
Yeah.
It's more of an instruction.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, there you go. So just first, a change order. Just wanted to let the board know, last week I signed a change order with Bartlett Tree Service for additional work that was done at Cranberry Valley. The change order reflects 2 more days of additional work. This was to deal with the winter storm that we were talking about earlier. The change order reflects an increase of about $9,900. The contractor's been made aware by lead staff of the 2 additional days of work, and the prior authorization was $49,000. So the total amount with the change order is $59,904. This was the emergency work that they did after the blizzard.
That was a not to exceed, correct?
Correct, yeah. And at this point, they're gone.
Mr. Chair, can I speak to that quickly?
Yeah, sure.
You know, Jay, I went out and met with Sean, and for the public to understand that it wasn't the crew at Cranberry Valley not doing any of that work. They did
Yeah.
an amazing amount of work with trees and and such. So this was just to help them get it done so that we could be open and safe.
Yeah, absolutely.
They did
I
a
know
heck of a job.
They had a plan where basically they took the trees down and then put what they could from the brush through the chipper, and then Sean's guys came back and actually, cut all the logs up and removed the logs, and it was further a team effort with the DPW that hauled all that material out of there for us. So, I mean, when I played there in March, the difference between what I saw at the end of March to like a week ago, it's unreal, the difference. I mean, this was, along with the cemeteries, just an unprecedented storm that they needed help with. But
Did you play the fairways this time?
no, you saw the picture. I was in the woods. I'm sorry.
Please pass along our thanks to Sean, though.
I will, yeah. They did great work. The cemetery also utilized Bartlett, but, I said, I brought that contract in front of you a few weeks ago, but Bartlett did a good job in pinch hitting where we needed it with storm cleanup, so. Another contract, last week I signed a contract for engineering services for the upgrade for the fire alarm panel at the 204 Sisson Road Cultural Municipal Building.
Saved yourself there.
Funding for this project is from Article 2023, Article 16, line 13. The original appropriation was $15,000 and the cost was $15,000. Also wanted to let the board know that pursuant with their vote to appoint Jamie Kenny's firm, I signed the Labor Council fee agreement with Clifford and Kenny, and that was at the proposal that they made when they came to you, which was the $250 per hour, and then also utilizing the flat $550 monthly fee, which is their access fee. So that's unique to them. That covers all emails and phone calls. So unlimited phone calls and emails for $550 a month. And then when they have to do further legal work, it's $250 an hour. So that's unique to their company, and I think is a benefit to the town of Harwich, because I'm not going to say 90% of the things are phone calls and emails, but they tend to be, so.
They will be.
That's a benefit.
Now they will be.
Yeah, now they will be. I think that minute is 15, so if I can get the phone call done in 15 minutes, then it's free. We're covered by that $550 per month, so. And I did talk to them, I gave them an example of the KP bill and asked them to.
Not do the same?
Well, we wanted the breakdown of how each call is, so. So I expect that we'll see it in the same light moving forward, so. Beach nourishment, wanted to let the board know that 4 parties submitted responses to the RFP we put out for beach nourishment. Harbor Master John Harker's been working through the required paperwork for all those responses. So that was a lot less than the last time we put an RFP out. Last time we had in the dozens, over a dozen. This time we had 4 people that proposed, probably due to the change in the fee, the $26 minimum. So we had less, but we'll have quite a bit of sand for the public beaches as well. Chairman Howell had to sign the agreements last week because we're hoping that the dredging was going to start today or tomorrow. So bid nourishment results can be found already posted on the Town of Harwich website for anybody that's interested as well. Appointments, I'm pleased to announce that I filled the grant writer communication position that we recently created. Happy to welcome Stephanie Hall to Harwich as our grant writer communication position. Stephanie brings a wealth of experience, knowledge, and success in procuring grants at both the federal and state level. I'm really excited to have her in the office. She'll be an asset to our staff and the community, and she starts sometime next week.
Full-time?
Part-time.
That's what, I just wanted that out there.
Yep, part-time. Employee appreciation cookout. Wanted to let the board know and also invite the board. We're hosting an employee appreciation cookout on Thursday, June 4th at 2 p.m. The event will bring our a team of employees together and serve as a thank you for all they do for us and for the town on a daily basis. With the start time, I'm asking the permission from the board to close town hall at 2 o'clock that day so that employees can come to the event. I'm also hoping that board members, if they're available, I know people work and have busy schedules, but I'm kind of hoping if you're available that you'd come and help cook food and help serve food that day. If not, kibitz with staff, if you can't.
Where's it being held? Chatham Middle
At Brooks.
School?
No, we're gonna, so that was a very we ended up
Sorry,
landing
Jay.
on, that's all right. We landed on Brooks Park.
Okay,
It's a
great.
perfect
It's closer.
neutral location and doesn't pick any building over another. And Brooks Park, where they can leave their cars here and walk across the street and head over to the park. Hamburgers, hot dogs, potato salad, pasta salad, watermelon, and strawberry shortcake. I forgot to tell you strawberry shortcake.
Having been a resident of the New York City metro area for many years, it's a kibitz, not kibitz.
Kibitz, all right, kibitz.
It's a Yiddish term.
We'll make sure that we're.
Fiddlers too, by the way.
Fiddlers and
Fiddlers, yeah.
kibitz.
Yeah, we're gonna evict you.
You know, I'm hoping over the years,
Or
we'll
kibitz.
grow this into like a, more of an opportunity to acknowledge people's lengths of service, like, you know, these employees have worked for the town for 30 years, we're gonna give them a $2 trinket, you know? These employees have worked here for 25 years, so they get a smaller trinket, but, you know.
You're really playing this thing up.
Yeah, it's, you know what?
You know
little
they
things
do
go a
watch
long way.
this.
So little things go a long way, and I think this will be a nice way to kind of support the staff. This year, it's just gonna be a cookout, because that's an awful lot to pull off in a very short amount of time.
But Jay, it
So-
sounds like you're giving them tokens for Ryan's amusement to see
Well,
what
I'll
they
tell
can
you,
get out
like,
of one of the machines.
I've never, we did this, I started this in Middleborough, actually, I started this in Marion, and then furthered it in Middleborough. And we never gave away anything much, like a very small little gratitude of appreciation, you know, like 30 years of service, here's a little plaque. And, you know, you laugh at like, it's silly, I worked 30 years, I get a little plaque. But I had a police officer last year, just totally a true story. I had a police officer last year that was getting 25 years of service, brought his mother to the cookout.
It's awesome.
To see him get this little like
Yeah.
$2 trinket, you know, that whatever, it means something to somebody, to people. So like, I wish we could pull it off this year, but I think it'll be our goal for next year is to identify years of service and acknowledge them.
Just the cookout is a demonstration of where we're at.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. So,
You think
yeah.
staff really wants any of these people cooking their food?
I don't know, but.
No, actually, we voted that you were going to be the one.
Are we getting a fee waiver for the use, and is there beer and wine?
I don't know if there's no beer and wine, gonna have to deal with the fee waiver if we have a rental, a fee agreement over
Here,
there.
Rec and Youth has jurisdiction over that.
Okay.
You know,
That's
I
my
wanted, the
point.
reason why 2 o'clock is, you know, I want to let them get out of work a little bit early, but then also I want them to come. And that's one way to get them to come, is to say it's during work. you
We're
know,
going to need a
so-
motion to do that.
Yeah, so we can do that next week if you add it
was
to the
thinking
agenda.
now.
Yeah, or now, whatever you'd like to do, I'll take that too.
What time again?
2 o'clock on Thursday, June 4th.
Do you have a
Well,
rain
you got to make a motion.
Not a rain date yet, we talked about a rain date, but we'll work on that.
So I move that we approve a closing of Town Hall at 2 PM on June 4th, 2026,
Company
to
vote.
attend a staff
Cookout.
appreciation cookout.
Second.
All town hall, all town.
Yeah,
employees.
I'm not sure how, like, I have a department head meeting Thursday, so this gets tough with the COA and the community center. I've had preliminary conversations with all those department heads, we're gonna do our best to make it work for everybody, but if you acknowledge that closure, then we'll work in that effort, so.
So Pete, then, you said you want to say something.
Oh, I didn't know if you were gonna let Richard speak, but I'll make,
I was going to start with you and then go to
yeah,
Richard.
I'll make, you know, my comment that you all know I struggle with closing town hall. And I did forewarn Jay about my comments. This is an event that I'm happy to support. I got everybody relaxed now.
No, I know you like the employees. It's the money and the look.
You know, and
Get that.
it's one of those things where I appreciate and respect what Jay's trying to do. I think this event will go a long way. But it wouldn't be, Pete, if I didn't say, the closing of town hall is to attend the event. If you choose not to attend the event, you're more than happy to stay at work and slug along, feel
Conversations
free.
We had those
today.
conversations
We had those
today.
conversations earlier
Yeah.
today.
So that's my only comment, so thank you.
So it's completely voluntary to repeat.
The event is voluntary,
I
sure.
mean, participation's
Yeah,
completely
you attend or
voluntary.
you work.
You can't go home at 2
You
o'clock.
just can't go home. Richard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Council on Aging has done 2 volunteer recognitions every year. It's one of the most important things that we do for our volunteers. I'd like to offer, as a chair of a committee, that the chairs would love to be able to help cook. if you guys can't do it, we'd love to, and I think it's a great opportunity for some of your committees to show their recognition and appreciation for the employees for all the work that we do. I know in my committees, we could not do the work without the staff there. So I, for one, would be happy to offer, and it'd be great if you reached out to some of your other committee chairs or committees to see if they'd like to help serve that day.
And while we're on that subject, we have been discussing, it's a separate and distinct thought, getting back to a volunteer appreciation government-wide, not just the COA, but government. We used to do that.
Yeah.
And I think we can get back to that again.
So, that's one thing that I did last year, for the first time in my career, that was unbelievably great event, is we held a end of the year volunteer appreciation get together. We had like a potluck dinner, and that was awesome.
That was
Everybody
great,
loved it
yeah.
across the board. It was
Very
like,
much appreciated.
we had a ton of
Not as
raffle
not this,
stuff.
but we are looking
Yeah,
towards
not
doing
this
something.
one, but I definitely would like to try to pull that together. And
Based on the feedback we've had from our volunteers, and this is from Mr. Pekarsky, the volunteers at the Council on Aging saved 2 full-time equivalent employees for the town. We could not do that work without those 75 volunteers doing it. So there is a savings to the town by having these people volunteer, and I'm sure it's likewise throughout the community. So it is important, and I, for one, would be happy to support that.
Okay, so we have a motion. Great. To do the closing. Any further comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous.
all right, great, thank you. Looking forward to it. Let me know if you're available that day, when you can.
Sadly, I'll be in Boston.
Oh, really?
Well, you didn't have your people check with my people.
I know, that stinks. Wow.
That's all right. Well,
All right, we'll figure it out.
I
Just
still
last
love
item.
everybody. It's just I won't be there to serve them, and I'll have 8 stand in my stead.
We had a resignation from our building commissioner this past week. Building Commissioner Eleanor McKay has submitted her resignation. Her last day with the town will be next week. In her letter, she thanked the board for working with her and stated that she is moving on to another opportunity. I have a good lead on an acting building commissioner that I'm hoping to have in place immediately upon her departure next week. This will allow us time to formalize the process for her full-time replacement in her position. Wish Eleanor the best and all the success possible in the future.
Okay.
That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Selectman report.
I have nothing.
What were you doing last Monday?
I think I was at a town meeting.
Okay, that's enough of a report.
I attended the Monomoy Middle School Building Committee meeting. Stopped down there and see it. The siding project is ongoing. They've taken all the siding off. They're replacing with new plywood, and interestingly, they're installing windows and doing water tests. And the water tests are important because that is in large part why we had water infiltration and mold issues at that building, is that the flashing was not done correctly the first time. This time, they are testing windows as they go along to make sure they are watertight and the waterproofing is done correctly.
Great. Neat.
I don't really have anything to report, but it was very nice to meet you, Mr. McKay.
You'll see him occasionally.
Yeah, I may see him occasionally, but this is the first time I have met him. So welcome aboard.
Thank you, Anita, appreciate it.
Sure.
We'll talk about double poles.
Good. Just sub-polls.
Sub-polls.
You're coming to the meeting tomorrow, right?
I'll be there. Motion to adjourn?
This is our. No,
Second,
wait a second. I got-
question over here, just before you go, right over here.
Damn it.
Go ahead.
Can I just ask a quick question, please? What's the status of a new recreation department head?
There's a recruitment out, and that's as far as I can get right now. We're at the end of the meeting. We can talk about it next week, but there's a recruitment out.
Oh, okay, I wondered what the status was.
We have to follow a
The job's
process.
been posted. The
Oh,
job's been
yes,
posted.
okay, thank you.
Sorry, I jumped the gun.
Yeah, okay.
I recommend Jen Anderson. Oh, who's the
Let me get back to the beginning.
Yes.
It starts from the top. Yeah, I'm done. Motion to adjourn, anyone?
No.
No? Do you want to stay?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any who don't can stay.